Hey guys, my losers. So this is part 2 of Draco Malfoy X Listener, and it's currently still the same song and same playlist from last time. So it'll be the same link in the description. But here's part 2. Sorry, I'm just popping my knuckles. This is a part 2 of the first one. And it starts at a different point, but it's still linked to the first one. So yeah. Part 2. The castle was still, the usual whispers of the night followed by the oppressive silence that seemed to have settled over Hogwarts ever since Dolores Umbridge took control. Sleep had eluded you entirely, your mind replaying the events of the day over and over, the sting of the black quill, the pain in your hand, and the memory of Draco Malfoy carefully wrapping the bandages around your wound with a gentleness you hadn't thought him capable of. You needed air, you needed warmth, you needed a distraction, and so, without much thought, your feet carried you to Hagrid's hut. The familiar glow of firelight greeted you as you approached, spilling out the small, rounded windows. You frowned. It was late, far past the time when most students, or even Hagrid, would still be awake. The door was slightly ajar and you hesitated, wondering if perhaps you should knock, but the faint sound of voices reached your ears, low and muted. Curiosity got the better of you. You inched closer, peering through the crack in the door. Inside, you saw Draco Malfoy. The sight was so unexpected that you nearly stumbled back. This wasn't the Draco you knew, the one who strutted through the hallways with an air of superiority, his robes perfectly pressed and his hair always immaculate. No, this Draco looked different. He sat hunched in one of Hagrid's massive chairs, his usual impeccable posture replaced by a tired slump. A thick, hand-knitted blanket, obviously one of Hagrid's, was draped over his shoulders, and his hands cradled a steaming mug. His hair was slightly mussed, as if he'd been running his hands through it. His expression was vulnerable. "I don't even know who I am anymore," Draco said, his voice quieter than you'd ever heard it. He stared into the mug in his hands, his gaze distant. "All my life, I've been told what to do." Oh wait, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. "I've been told what to believe, what to value, who to be, and I've gone along with it because that's what a Malfoy does." But lately, Hagrid was seated across from him, his massive frame dwarfing the chair he occupied. He nodded encouragingly, his eyes kind. "Lately, you've been thinking it might not be what you really want?" Draco gave a hollow laugh. "What I want doesn't matter. It never has." Your heart tightened at his words. It was strange, hearing such raw honesty from someone you'd always thought of as insufferable and untouchable. For a moment, you considered leaving. This wasn't your place, after all. But before you could move, the floorboard beneath your foot creaked. Draco's head shot up, his gray eyes narrowing as they looked into yours. "What are you doing here?" he snapped, his voice sharp and defensive. The softness you'd seen in his expression just moments ago vanished, replaced by the familiar mask of arrogance and disdain. "I could ask you the same thing," you retorted, stepping fully into the hut. Draco stood abruptly, the blanket slipping from his shoulders as he set his mug down on the table with more force than necessary. "Spying on people now? That's low, even for you." "Spying?" he repeated incredulously. "I don't even know you were here." Hagrid raised a hand, his deep voice cutting through the tension. "Enough, both of you. There's no need for fighting. If you've I'm sorry, I read it with the accent that he has, and I can't read it. If you've come all the way out here, then sit and have some tea." Draco scoffed, crossing his arms and leaning back against the chair. You glanced at him, then at Hagrid, before finally taking a seat closest to the fire. Hagrid moved to the hearth, pouring tea into a large, chipped mug and handing it to you. The warmth seeped into your hands immediately, soothing the lingering ache in your bandaged one. For a moment, The only sound was the crackle of the fire and the occasional clink of Hagrid's teapot. "You didn't answer my question," he said finally, breaking the silence. He stared at Draco. "Why are you here?" He stared into the fire, his jaw tightening. "That's none of your business." "Draco here has been coming round for I'm sorry, I forgot it was not. I'm sorry. "Draco here has been coming round for a while now," Hagrid said, his tone casual but kind. "Sometimes it helps, talking to someone who will listen without judging. You looked at Draco, surprised. He avoided your gaze, his fingers tapping idly against the arm of his chair. "You come here to talk?" you asked, unable to keep the disbelief from your voice. Draco rolled his eyes. "Don't look so shocked. I'm capable of normal human behavior." "Could have fooled me," you muttered, taking a sip of your tea. His lips twitched, as if he were fighting back a smile, but he didn't respond. Hagrid cleared his throat, his eyes twinkling as he looked between the two of you. "You've both got more in common than you think. Maybe if you stopped snapping at each other for a minute, you'd see that." You and Draco exchanged glances, both of you clearly skeptical. After a moment, Draco sighed, leaning forward and resting his elbows on his knees. "Fine, you want to know why I'm here?" he said, his voice quieter now. "Because sometimes I don't know where else to go. Hagrid doesn't care who I am or what my family expects of me. He doesn't expect anything from me. He just listens." His admission hung in the air, raw and unguarded. "I didn't know you felt that way," you said softly. He glanced at you, his gray eyes meeting yours for a brief moment before darting away. "Yeah, well, I don't exactly advertise it." The silence that followed wasn't uncomfortable this time. You sipped your tea, the warmth spreading through you, and stole glances at Draco. Without his usual armor of arrogance, he seemed human. Eventually, Hagrid excused himself to tend to something outside, leaving the two of you alone. "Sorry, I didn't expect this," you said after a while, breaking the silence. "Expect what?" "This," you said, gesturing vaguely at him. "Seeing you like this, hearing you talk like that, it's different." Draco shrugged, his expression unreadable. "Maybe you don't know me as well as you think." "Maybe not," you admitted, "but I'd like to." His eyes flicked up to yours, searching your face for something. For once, he didn't have a retort ready. "Maybe," he said finally, his voice softer than you'd ever heard it. The night stretched on, the fire burning low, and when you left the hut together, the rivalry between you felt less like a wall and more like a bridge waiting to be crossed. And that's the end of part 2. Part 3 is literally on its way right now, and I'm probably gonna post these back to back to each other, because I'm recording them all at the same time and then posting them all at the same time, so it's less work for me to do it that way. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I love you, my losers. Bye!